Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Cian Bexty for Rebel News, standing in rural Manitoba, standing in a place at a location you probably wouldn't even notice if you weren't looking for it. This is a COVID camp, one of the ones that the CBC doesn't want you to believe exists. In fact, article after article coming out of the CBC and every other mainstream media site, but particularly the CBC, who is running damage control for Justin Trudeau, they say that no sites like this, no, they're not real, they don't exist. Justin Trudeau, of course, put out an RFI, a request for information, asking for industry to give them input, give the federal government input onto how they could best run camps just like these. And apparently they've set up a few already. Now, this camp in particular is run by the Manitoba Métis Federation, and it is currently standing empty, according to a conversation I had with two folks who are running maintenance here. Now, they weren't wearing any masks when I was talking to them, so I tend to believe them that there's no COVID cases in here right now, but I'm also curious as to what the purpose of these camps are, especially when it comes to Justin Trudeau's camps. The RFI states that it's for health purposes and for dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, but it also says that people can be added to the roster of these camps' clientele for any other requirement that the federal government has. What are those requirements, and why is the CBC so concerned with you knowing that camps like this already exist? Now, this camp in particular has raised some concerns with the local community. Portage, Manitoba, just a few kilometers north of here, well, their newspaper put out this article. They were concerned about the ominous barbed wire that is around this facility. It's pretty ominous. Now, Justin Trudeau is furious about articles like that and stories like you're listening to right now. He doesn't want you to know what's going on. He doesn't want you to think at all. Listen to what he said.
I was chatting with a group of students the other day, and a young woman asked me about COVID internment camps, and I had to explain that as we consume increasing amounts and various sources of information online and around us, we need to continue to be attentive to source. We need to continue to be attentive to comparing various reports and looking for trusted sources.
Now, in the article, the spokesperson for this site says that people would be referred by the provincial government and then sent here. It doesn't say anything about volunteering. It just says that if the government refers them, they will accept them. Now, this could put them as a pretty prime location, a candidate for Justin Trudeau's planned quarantine sites. He wants to expand them. In fact, he wants them to exist for 2 years, up to 2 years. So right now, here, south of Portage-La Prairie, at this isolated site, Justin Trudeau might send some federal agents to check it out soon. And maybe Justin Trudeau will end up adding this very camp to his roster of COVID camps where they send Canadians who meet certain government requirements, just like the RFI said. Now, if that's not ominous, I don't know what is. For Rebel News, south of Portage-La Prairie, at this COVID camp that the mainstream media doesn't want you to even know exists, I'm Cian Bexty. Hey, thanks for tuning into our coverage here at Rebel News. Be sure to like and subscribe to our content. And if you've already done that, consider ringing the notification bell. If you do that, you'll be able to stay up to date with the news as it happens.